Hello. Today is the day. Today is your quit day. We're ready to go into Masterclass number 3. Going to pull up the deck and off we go. Welcome again. Here we go. We have the deck open. We are at Live the Quitter's Life, Masterclass number 3. This is your quit day for quitting smoking. You are officially a non-smoker. Your journey to becoming a quitter. It's time to let go, right? Just let go of that old smoker identity and become a non-smoker and embrace your new identity. I'm really glad you're here. Congratulations. Let's see, what did I want to tell you about today? Well, I can remind you once again, I smoked for 38 years. So I had plenty of quit days in all the years that I was trying to quit, and I can't even count them. I really never thought I was going to get to the quit day, like the real one, the one that I had been trying to get to for so long. On my last quit day, I actually woke up and I knew the day had finally arrived. It was awesome. I knew I was prepared. I just knew it was here. I awakened and I said out loud, I am a non-smoker. And I knew I had this nailed. I managed my triggers by not setting myself up to hit any of them. That was my choice. That's what I chose to finally get there. I managed my cravings and withdrawals with a full arsenal of items, such as listening to my hypnosis, going through my meditations, making sure I'm doing my exercises to keep my mind up, that I was eating right, that I had gum and patches just in case to cover all of my bases. Then I had told the world that I was quitting and today was my day. And I was ready. I had my support system in place, all of my nicotine replacement therapy pieces in place, all of my mental therapy places in place. I was here. I was on a journey as a non-smoker. It felt great, and I felt proud of myself. I hope you do too. Overview of our session today is welcome. My story, which we talked about. The ground rules, which we have talked about. What's going well. We're going to talk about managing your cravings, managing a setback, and rewarding yourself. And we'll put your action steps in place, and I'll ask you for your ahas. So ground rules. You've seen this slide before. There might be a couple words changed, but essentially it's the same slide. This is to let you become the person you want to be, right? We're working to close the gap from where you are today to where you want to be. Today you're a non-smoker, and we want you to be a non-smoker forever. Okay, so as we go through, I will keep pointing out your limiting powers, your excuses. You need to keep pointing out your limiting powers as they come when we're not on this. Pay attention. If things are going through your mind that are limiting your power to be strong and in control, they are your excuses. You can give yourself an excuse easily to go smoke another cigarette. Bad things happen, good things happen, something doesn't happen. It just goes on and on. There's always a reason that you can give yourself excuse. You're not allowed to. You're a non-smoker. So there is no excuse to smoke, right? You're not allowed to give yourself that excuse. That's your limiting power speaking to you, okay? So managing those. Your program is designed for you to hold yourself accountable, to give you all the tools that you need, such as your anchors, what your triggers are, understanding your hypnosis, how breathing works to help you manage all the things in order to feel good and move forward in your new life. We're going to continue to push you outside your comfort zone. We're going to focus on what's going right, not what's going wrong. And you should be doing a new masterclass every 7 days for this 6-week program, okay? This is it. This is Masterclass number 3. This is your quick day. I want you to share. Start your day by sharing, this is my quick day, okay? Listen to your hypnosis. Listen to your 30-minute motivational speaker that you've chosen. And get out your pencil and paper. We do have an exercise or two that we need to do today. So we're going to start with what's going well. So we're going to stop the masterclass and we're going to answer those questions. And we just spend some time on it. What's going well? What's something new that you're proud of trying or doing in the last 7 days? How did it go when you put yourself at top priority? Did you do that? Did you discover anything? Did you discover good things like, even though maybe you didn't do something, everything worked out just fine. The world didn't come to an end. You were top billing this last week. I hope you maintain that and have some exciting things to notate about it today. Make sure your answer is in the positive. Let your positive answer propel you forward. It knocks out those limiting powers, gives you your own power and control. Then answer. Does it feel good to acknowledge what went well? How did that feel? Right? And your next question that you have to answer is, do you feel a surge of energy just thinking about what's going well? What went well? How does it feel? Does it give you a little bit of energy to think, that's awesome. When I focus more on what went well, I make better decisions for me. It guides me to make better decisions across the board for my health and my body and for my life. Remember, you're not focused on what's not going well. If you focus on what's not going well, you tend to make crummy decisions. Does that make sense? Okay, stop the tape. You're going to put down what went well, anything, no matter how big or small. How does it feel to acknowledge that? And how does it feel? Does it give you a surge of energy when you think about it? Okay, you're back. So now I want to talk about the tools to prevent a relapse. Let's go over a nicotine addiction cycle. Cycles start when you smoke that cigarette, right? The nicotine level increases. As soon as you take that first puff, that nicotine level will increase. A high level of nicotine, will stop the cravings and allow you to feel relaxed, right? You know that. You've done that thousands of times, hundreds of times, thousands of times, whatever it may be for you. After a period of time passes after you've smoked that cigarette, those nicotine levels start to drop again, right? There's the cycle. Then the low-level nicotine will trigger your cravings to start. And those cravings are, you feel the need for a cigarette, right? You get a little bit agitated. You have a little difficulty focusing, inability to concentrate. And you start to worry, like, when will I get to smoke my next cigarette, right? So that's the cycle that you'll start to feel today on your quick day, right? So you've got your arsenal. You've got your breathing. As soon as you feel it, start the breathing. Right? Make sure you listen to your hypnosis. If you've chosen one of the nicotine replacement pieces, and whatever it may be, whether it's a patch or gum, make sure you've got that with you so that you can take care of that craving when it comes. Okay? Also, make sure that you're setting yourself up that you're not focusing on the actual cravings. Get something else to do with yourself. Turn around and do something else. Okay? So, while a smoker, your level of nicotine goes up and down during the day. Very simple. We all know that. This adds stress to the body, both physically and mentally. And we talked about that. We talked about stress, that smoking actually adds stress. And as a non-smoker, your stress level will go down. And that is so true. It's amazing. When you get there, you're going to feel that in just a few weeks. Today, maybe not, but you will feel that soon enough. The use of the NRT products can help to reduce the cravings and the withdrawal from the nicotine. So don't be afraid. For these first couple of weeks, you may or may not need that. Some people do. Make sure you're continuing with your hypnosis, your anchors, and all monitoring your trigger points. Okay, those are very, very important. Everyone does have a different experience. Some people experience cravings right away, and then others, you may not feel cravings for a couple of weeks. So first you might be thinking, I have no idea what she's been talking about. And then a few weeks from now, you may feel it and go, oh, there it is. I finally understand. Just make sure you've got your arsenal ready and you're prepared when it does happen, because it doesn't have to be detrimental. So we all know what they feel like. You've had them your whole life in a certain manner of when you start getting jittery and it's time to go out and have another cigarette, right? Because they've been controlling us for many years. Your cravings, I just talked about it, will be strong the first couple of weeks, but do remember that they will pass, and they actually pass quite quickly. It's just a matter of taking some deep breaths, doing your breathing exercise, and it'll be gone by then. And here's the fun part. You won't actually die if you really, I mean, sometimes we think we will, but you're not going to actually die, nor are you going to commit a violent crime. Do your breathing, you won't die, you're not going to commit a violent crime. Physically, you maybe feel uncomfortable, right? Your heart's going to race, your palms might get sweaty. Mentally, you'll feel urges to smoke. Your focus will be on having that cigarette. Your whole brain will go to going and having that cigarette versus the project or whatever it is that you're trying to work on. And you may struggle to focus and think clearly because your brain keeps going back to this movie. That's why we're using the anchors and the other pieces, the breathing exercises, in order to get your focus off of the cigarette. You may feel cranky or sad. That's okay. That's normal. Don't worry about it. Just know that it will pass. So to manage your craving and avoid your triggers at all costs, that is your goal. This is by far the most important step. So we're going to talk about it again. Go back, review all your triggers so you know what they are. Fine-tune your control plans for each of those triggers. What are you going to do? Are you going to completely avoid those triggers? What did you put into place in order to not have those triggers be the thing that causes you, that habit, that trigger, causes you to smoke another cigarette? Because you don't want to allow those triggers to give you that excuse, okay? Everybody's triggers are different. High-risk situations, you'll have, when you go back through your list, I want you to look at that, and you've got high-risk triggers, and then you've got other things that trigger you that you figured out over this last couple of weeks. So personally, I had to avoid drinking coffee during the period of time when I initially quit because I associated a cup of coffee with cigarettes. So it's just simple. I switched to tea. Happened to like good tea, and for whatever reason, I didn't have that connected. So that worked out very, very well for me. Other people have specific foods or locations or places, situations including stepping out for a cigarette with a family friend or coworker, or obviously drinking the alcohol like we talked about. So just identify those high-risk solutions. Make sure that this is my true high risk, and I got it top of my radar as to whether I'm going to completely avoid those for the next couple of weeks. If you have friends or family members that smoke, make sure that you let them know not to smoke in front of you or around you, because that's a trigger. Lastly, the smell of cigarettes. Probably the smell of cigarettes will become one of the strongest triggers. You don't know it until now, but it's going to become a really strong trigger for quite some time. Simply, even now, I can go by and smell smoke. I don't really want to have a cigarette, but it actually is a nice smell, interestingly enough. Kind of like a scented candle, but I don't want to be immersed in it, but it gives me a happy feeling. So I want you to stop the class and make a list of your high-risk situations. I know you already have one, but I want you to list them again. And what you're going to do to either avoid or mitigate putting yourself in that situation over the next couple weeks. Stop the class now. Okay, so you're back. So what can you do to help with the cravings? cravings, listen to your hypnosis every day. Make sure you've got a set time or at least a scheduled time in your day to do that. Meditate for a little bit each day. You can meditate on the train. You can do that in almost a public area and people won't realize what you're doing. Do your breathing, the 5-5-7, and relax and wait it out. So I want you to practice your 5-5-7. You're going to breathe in for 5. You're going to hold for 5. And then you're going to let it out for 7. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay? 10 times. Make sure you're doing that every day. I want you to keep busy. Make sure you're getting plenty of exercise. Change your environment. If you need to walk a different way into the building at work, whatever you need to do, change your environment so that you're not setting yourself up in the same situation that you have always been in, that you were in when you were a smoker. Employ all your anchors consistently. Make sure you're using your 5 anchors that you put together, using those 10 times a day. And that's actually a chore because you have to focus to make sure you're doing that. You have to write them down to remind you what they are, have them right there, and then keep practicing those anchors. They should be starting to have come a little naturally, or you might have 1 or 2 of them that are just so unnatural that you need to get rid of those and replace them with something else. So go ahead and do that. You can work on that this week. Lean on your support team. Contact your support team. Let them know how you're doing. Announce to the world that this is my quit day. I have now made it 27 minutes. Whatever it is. I want you to go back to your very first masterclass, which was the free one. And we put together your why, your leverage. Go back through that leverage. Rewrite it out. Go through the process again. And make sure you've got everything you can think of. You have all the whys in the world. Then I want you to describe your why to 3 people today. Okay? 3 people today. You're going to tell them your true why, not the superficial one that you've used in the past, the real one. Okay? Now your goal is to stay smoke free. We know that. What do you do if you have a setback? We talked about this. What is a setback? It's just a setback. It's not an end. It doesn't mean you failed. And it's not your excuse to give up and quit trying. Okay? You don't get to use a setback as an excuse, period. It can't. You just cannot be. You have to put yourself at top priority. And your health and your life should be top priority. So the setback does not get to win, nor does the excuse. 1 puff does not mean you're a smoker. It means you're a non-smoker that had 1 puff. Okay? A setback does not mean you get to have another cigarette. So if you have a setback and you got a pack of 20 cigarettes because you drove up to the carryout and bought a pack, you got to throw the other 19 away. Or you have 1 puff, you got to throw 20 cigarettes away, less 1 puff. Right? Just do it. It's fine. You've wasted tons of money through the years. What's another $9? But you don't get to smoke the next cigarette. Remember, you only fail if you quit trying to quit, right? Remind yourself of all your hard work. You've spent 2 solid weeks going through these programs, working on your anchors, your breathing, putting together all your tools, learning about all of the nicotine replacement programs. You may have worked with your doctor on medications and how to use them. Make sure you're using your full arsenal, the whole arsenal, including the hypnosis and the meditation. Those are very big pieces in helping you to achieve, okay? So how does it make you feel if you have a setback? Well, you might as well talk about it. You haven't had one yet because we just started. But you'll feel guilty. Okay. Some people feel disappointed in themselves. Sometimes we feel like it means that we're weak or we're a failure. And then some people feel that, maybe they're undeserving, that they don't deserve to get to be a non-smoker. None of that is true. Don't get sucked into that one, because those really are just going to lead to your excuse, right? So all of those feelings of guilt, disappointment, weakness, failure, I'm undeserving, it's just giving you another excuse. Don't let your excuses win. You are a non-smoker right now. Right now. Okay. If you have a setback, what are you going to do? You do not have permission to smoke another cigarette. I hope that you understand that. You are a non-smoker right now. Let go of that smoker identity. Non-smokers don't smoke. So if you have a setback and take a puff of a cigarette, you don't smoke. You're a non-smoker. So let's plan your rewards. This is the fun part. We haven't planned rewards. We touched on financials and what that could mean. We haven't planned any rewards. This is your quick day. Congratulations. It takes a lot of courage to get this far. And you deserve this. You are worthy. You should be nice to yourself today. Remember that you only fail if you quit trying to quit. So, to plan your rewards. Rewards don't have to be big, and they don't have to cost money. We're going to do an exercise on rewards. We're going to stop the masterclass, and we're going to make a list of rewards for each one of these. So you'll have to write this down. What will your reward be for yourself at the end of your first quit day? So that's today. After 7 days of being a non-smoker, after 1 month of being a non-smoker, after 6 months of being a non-smoker, and after 1 year. So examples of rewards are a bath with candles, a shopping spree, your favorite foods, new exercise shoes or clothes or equipment or a class, tickets to a movie, a concert or ball game, a new hobby, or maybe an old one that you're getting back into or that you want to develop out more, a massage or spa treatment, an adventure or a vacation. Right? I'm asking you to make a list for today, your first day, after 7 days, a month, 6 months, and a year. We'll make that today. But you can plan small rewards for yourself for each day. Okay, and that simply can be your motivational tapes that you're listening to or your hypnosis. You can use those as rewards. You can use a meditation as reward or time with family and friends. So stop the tape now and let's have you do your first series of rewards that you're going to give yourself. And then come back. This should take about 5 or 10 minutes. So you're back. This is a very short day because you have a busy day. I want you to review all of your triggers, make sure you're very clear of what they are and how you're going to deal with them or not deal with them because you have changed your schedule and your plans around to not have to be associated with them. List your high-risk triggers. Make sure they're starred and you're very aware of what they are. Share those with friends and the people in your support group and let them know if there's things that you need them to remind you of in order to help you when you get to your high-risk triggers. So invite them to truly participate. Plan your high-risk solutions, which is what I just spoke to. Know what your plan is when cravings attack. What is in your arsenal for when that cravings attack? Are you going to use breathing? Are you going to get up and exercise? Are you taking a walk? What is your plan? Are you using your patch, gum, lozenge, anything that you're using for when that craving attacks. And make sure that you're using your anchors for those cravings. When those attack, if you start with your anchors, like my punches, you will find that those give you power to just do something else with yourself. And you feel very, very strong as a non-smoker. Make sure you're doing your hypnosis, your motivationals, and sharing each day's accomplishments with family and friends. So what are your ahas? We're all done. I want you to sit down and spend some time. What insights have you gained today from what we talked about? And what appreciations have you discovered? At the end of your day, starting now, all the way through the rest of our programs, I want you to spend 5 minutes, get a piece of paper, and journal about what insights you gained today. What went well, what was good, what felt good for the day. Even if it's that the sunshine and the birds were out chirping and that made you feel good. It doesn't have to be to smoking. Just make notes each day that were positive, things that you gained for the day, and what appreciations that you discovered. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week after your first week as a non-smoker.